Hi guys, and welcome back to Viable Futures. Okay, so ARK Invest released their Big Ideas 2021 presentation yesterday, and it was an incredibly impressive read, which is to be expected from ARK. In this video, I will be summarising the key points of the presentation, and will note any changes to last year's presentation in 2020. It's these sorts of big ideas and investment opportunities which inspired me to start this channel. So, if this is something you're interested in, then please do like and subscribe to the channel, as I'll be producing more videos around this topic. Now, ARK's presentation is fairly long, so I will split it into two videos to keep the length suitable. Part 1 will cover items 1 to 6, and Part 2 will cover items 7 to 15. I have added chapters into this video, so do skip any sections that are not useful to you, and without delay, let's dive in. I'm sure most of you will know of ARK Invest and Cathie Wood, but for those that don't, ARK aims to identify large-scale investment opportunities by focusing on who we believe to be the leaders, enablers, and beneficiaries of disruptive innovation. While we believe innovation is key to growth, the opportunity it creates can be missed or misunderstood by traditional investment managers who are more focused on sectors, indexes, short-term earnings, and price movements. This is what ARK is about. ARK seeks to gain a deeper understanding of the convergent market potential and long-term impact of disruptive innovation by researching a global universe that spans sectors, industries, and markets. In essence, ARK is looking at the future holistically, rather than looking at specific sectors, because ARK fully understands all these industries are interwoven with each other. Today, we are witnessing an acceleration in new technological breakthroughs. To enlighten investors on the impact of these breakthroughs and the opportunities they should create, ARK has put this Big Ideas 2021 presentation together. Deep learning is the first chapter, and there aren't too many changes here from the 2020 presentation. ARK have headlined that deep learning could be the most important software breakthrough of our time. I would say that this is a stronger statement than theirs last year, where they said deep learning will be more impactful than the internet. But ARK continues with their estimate that deep learning will add $30 trillion to the global equity market in the next 15 to 20 years. Just a quick reminder here that deep learning is a subset of machine learning, which is in itself is a subset of artificial intelligence. Deep learning has a similar problem-solving approach like the human brain. ARK have updated this slide to introduce the deep learning is software 2.0 concept. And what is really exciting here is this graph. We are currently located on this inflection point where ARK expects that we are going to see the most important software created by deep learning within the next decade. It is enabling self-driving cars and accelerating drug discovery and many more applications. What you will notice throughout this presentation is that the big ideas ARK have identified are not standalone. They are woven into one another, and the success of one idea may rely on the success of one or more of the other big ideas. Do bear this in mind when we go through this presentation, as when we do go through these ideas, when these ideas come together, the holistic result is the future of the human race. Now, I think ARK has made a few errors in this slide, or in last year's slide, as they noted in 2019 that the smart speaker responded to 100 billion commands. In this year's presentation, they noted that in 2020, 100 billion voice commands were answered, an increase of 75% in 2019. So I'm not sure which is correct. Here, the Waymo car has been updated to the Jaguar I-Pace, and the additional cities that they're operating in have been added in. Although the 200 million real-world autonomous driving miles appears to be the same as last year. And in the final image, the TikTok has now outgrown Snapchat and Pinterest combined. This next slide is interesting. In 2020, we were presented with the graph on the left, where deep learning modules are trained with a 10x more computing power each year. ARK has increased the detail in this year's presentation on the right, identifying that the cost of training the modules is likely to increase 100-fold by 2025. And interestingly, they have included a projective case where the rate of improvement may drop off, likely due to the cost increase. The next three slides are all consistent with the 2020 report, where it notes that AI is expanding from vision to language. ARK includes an example from OpenAI's GPT-3 demonstrating how it understands language. The final slide in this section on deep learning provides detail on the $30 trillion market cap noted earlier, where ARK suggests that deep learning could create more economic value than the internet did. The reinvention of the data center is a new idea ARK have introduced, replacing the streaming media section from last year as the second big idea. Data centers are the power plant of computation and are going through a revolution. ARK has identified that ARM and RISC-V, ARM standing for Advanced RISC Machines and RISC standing for Reduced Instruction Set Computer, and these two chips basically provide lower cost, minimal power consumption, and lower heat than traditional chips, and GPUs, which are graphic processing units. And ARK have estimated a 21% annual growth rate to $41 billion by 2030 just to support the reinvention of the data center. Now, ARK have been very critical of Intel, noting that they once owned 90% of the chip sector, but now appear to be frozen in time and have fallen behind Moore's law. If you're invested in Intel, pay close attention to this chart. Currently, 99.9% of developer PCs are using Intel's x86 chip, and ARK estimates that this will fall to 41% by 2025 and only 18% by 2030, with ARM chips taking up their place. ARK believes ARM could become the new standard in cloud computing. Amazon Web Services, the largest cloud provider in the world, has provided its own ARM chip, reducing its need to purchase chips from Intel and AMD. Virtual worlds is another new big idea from ARK. This includes video games on consoles and mobile, augmented reality, which is overlaying the virtual world with the real world, such as holograms, and virtual reality, which is totally immersive, like the Oculus Rift headset. This is a topic I am very interested in. The game Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone with their Battle Royale experience has been a huge success for developers. Warzone is free to play, and with the revenue generated by in-game purchases. We can see from this chart that in 2010, 80% of game revenue was from selling the games to customers, whereas in 2020, this reduced to 25%, with 75% coming from in-game purchases. I want to produce a separate video on the gaming industry, as I see this as a huge growth potential in the future, accelerated by the pandemic. Video games are becoming third places away from home and work. Where pre-pandemic people could hang in a pub or a restaurant or at home, friends have been drawn to these virtual worlds to meet whilst playing a game. I think investments in publishers such as Activision Blizzard, EA Games and Rockstar, to name a few, are a solid investment. ARK's bull case should see the industry double in the next 5 years, and their bear case increase by 2/3. ARK estimates that augmented and virtual reality markets will grow at a 59% compound annual rate during the next 5 years, from $3 billion to $28 billion in 2025. A large proportion of this coming from augmented reality glasses and smartphones. Now, digital wallets. Okay, so there are a couple of interesting slides here in the 2020 report. ARK estimated that there would be 220 million digital wallets by 2024, giving a sector opportunity of $800 billion. Now, in ARK's most recent 2021 report on the right, they have increased their valuation of this opportunity to $4.6 trillion, up from the $800 billion. Now, this is almost a 6x increase. And this stems from a change in how one digital wallet is valued. In last year's report, they valued one wallet at $3,650, whereas in this year's report, they have increased this value of one wallet for a 2024 valuation of $20,000. To note, one digital wallet is currently valued at between $250 to $1,900. No matter which way you look at it, the growth is huge. ARK believes that PayPal's Venmo and Square's Cash App and future venture-funded startups are likely to upend traditional banks. The mobile phone will be the new bank branch. ARK notes that in China, mobile payments are currently 2.5 times its gross domestic product, a 15x explosion in just 5 years. Now, when we compare the charts from ARK's 2020 presentation on the left and the 2021 presentation on the right, the rate of increase is quite astounding. In 2020, Cash App was ranked the 4th by number of active digital users. Only 1 year later, it is now 3rd and almost in 2nd place. Looking at the 2021 chart, the rate of growth of Venmo and Cash App is amazing when compared to the rate of growth of JP Morgan's traditional deposit account. Now, the next few slides explain why there is this sudden and rapid increase in adoption of digital wallets. And to summarise, the digital wallets can acquire customers at a fraction of the cost of the traditional bank. And the traditional banking branch costs are rising and their utility is decreasing. ARK estimates that we are roughly halfway through the rapid adoption of digital wallets and are well on the way to the 4.6 trillion valuation. I'm currently making a video which goes into more detail on this sector, as this is one that fascinates me. I'm currently invested in Square and have seen a 50% increase on my investment. But from reading this report, any innovative company providing a digital wallet to the masses is probably not a bad investment. Now, onto Bitcoin, which is the final big idea for part 1 of this video. We know Cathie Woods is bullish on Bitcoin, and the 2020 report on the left essentially explained that why Bitcoin was viable, and they attempted to size the opportunity. In this year's report, ARK is now viewing Bitcoin as a more mature currency and have added a section on preparing Bitcoin for institutions. ARK have identified that 60% of Bitcoin's supply has not moved in more than a year, which they say is a testament to the market's long-term focus. As well as the recent surge in market capitalisation, the green line, ARK suggests that the purple base, which is the realised capitalisation, suggests that early investors are taking profits, whilst new investors are establishing positions and creating the higher support level. ARK has also compared the Bitcoin price with volume of search. Back in 2018, the search volume and price rise were directly proportional, suggesting this rise was very much hype-driven. The recent rise, however, the search volume is significantly lower, at only 15%. This suggests that Bitcoin is more well-known and people are establishing the Bitcoin as a longer-term investment. ARK believes Bitcoin could play a pivotal role as corporate cash. Square and MicroStrategy both have Bitcoin on their balance sheets, and ARK's research suggests that if all S&P 500 companies were to allocate 1% of their cash, the price of Bitcoin could increase by $40,000. And if they were to allocate 10%, the price of Bitcoin could increase by $400,000. ARK believes that institutions should be considering including Bitcoin in investment portfolios, as they see it as offering one of the most compelling risk-reward profiles among assets. Now, the next few slides discuss Bitcoin's credibility and ways investors can access Bitcoin. We can see that ARK has identified that Bitcoin is gaining market validation with regulators, with banks, with institutional investors, and public companies, and Bitcoin's trading volume is comparable to that of a large cap stock. ARK ran a Monte Carlo analysis which suggests that the allocations to Bitcoin should range from 2.5% when minimising volatility to 6.55% when maximising returns. Now, this is quite significant. So this concludes part 1 of the video, and please come back to view part 2 if EV, autonomy, space, 3D printing and genomics interests you. Thanks for watching, and see you in part 2.